TriStar Pictures takes you to the front lines of the next frontier.
Kill them all!
Join the Helldivers, the galaxy's last line of offense.
So cast your mind back to 2024, folks, in February, when a breakout game called Helldivers 2 took the gaming community by storm. And of course, it wasn't long before Sony, who actually have the rights to publish that game, decided to step in and say, oh, by the way, folks, you need to create a PSN account to play our PlayStation game on Steam. And how did that go down? Not extremely well. In fact, it was one of the biggest backlashes I have seen for a long time. And the then CEO, Johan Pilestadt, actually stepped down a few months later and was later replaced by this gentleman here, Shams Georgiani, as the new CEO of Arrowhead Studios. Now you might be thinking, what does this video have to do with anything that I'm talking about today? Well, the Chief Commercial Officer, Johan Pilestadt, is more interested in making great video games, because I guess when that whole community manager went on a rampage against players who were opposing certain things they didn't want in a Helldivers 2 game, you know, where you're set on a future Earth, you're destroying creatures based on the beloved Starship Troopers film with Paul Verhoeven as its base director, starring the beautiful Miss Cupcake herself, Denise Richards, along with Casper Van Dien, but to name a few, and including Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey. You've got a match made in heaven, right? And not forgetting the lovely Dina Meyer, who in my books is the best Batwoman we ever had.
But what happened was an accident. And I am sorry.
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog, your not-so-secret agent man with a douchebag hairstyle.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls...
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Approved by 1970s Robert Redford.
But pay close attention to this following tweet, folks, from Arrowhead Game Studios. Happy holidays from the Arrowhead team. This year has been a wild ride with epic highs, unexpected twists, and unforgettable moments. Now, what's really interesting, folks, when you see the former CEO, Johan Pilestadt, come out with this absolute banger of a statement. Within 10 minutes to 2025, what are your expectations and desires for what the next Arrowhead game will be? I am working on the high concept, but would love to hear your speculation. So it all seems innocent at first. When you look at the replies, it looks pretty good. And then one particular dude, ANX or ANX maybe, says the following: never add DEI to your games. And how does Johan Pilestadt actually reply? It's pretty cool, actually. If it doesn't add to the game experience, it detracts. And games should be a pure pursuit of amazing moments. Common sense, folks? Is there hope on the horizon? I guess there is. And somebody called Drew actually added to the base statement, how would DEI have benefited Helldivers 2 anyway? Johan replies, I don't like labels, but mankind is united in its extreme xenophobia on Super Earth. Hashtag inclusion. So maybe that's DEI? I really don't care. Make good games. Don't make a contemporary political statement. I'm going to address that point at the end of this video. But of course, you get the simp army of Alyssa McCante, in this case, Kate Bush's husband, not the real husband of the legendary sexy British female singer who once sung about babushka, but I like to call it baboobshka. Right? So what does he say? This is such a weird statement. And of course, Grums, aka Mark Kern, is using this as a win for his side when he led an harassment campaign against your community managers last year. Well, actually, that's not true because the community manager was an absolute prick. Mark Grums was just actually highlighting the fact that this was happening. But I guess this is the same Kate Bush's husband who also accused Cabrutus Rambo for creating or dared to create a curator list for Sweet Baby Inc. infected games, because how dare he have an opinion? How dare he takes the time to compile a list to warn other people out there, hey, bro, if you spend money on this game and it turns out to be a woke piece of shit, you can't get a refund because Sweet Baby Inc. and the developer they were working with have now got your money. That's why they want to terrify you to having a drink with your boss and asking them what DEI and ESG is so important. Why is it so fundamentally important to have these things in a video game? They're not. Absolutely. So it's a minor backlash, but nobody cares. And in fact, this meme here pretty much sums it up. Team Cope. Oh yeah. It's not even the incel tears at this stage, folks. It's just tears of absolute wokeism. It's brilliant. But I really do hope whatever Johan Pilestadt is coming up with next is going to be absolutely fantastic. And in fact, if you look at his profile here and the post he's made, whoa, hello, girl drivers or girl divers? I prefer women drivers obviously are a questionable species, except when they're piloting planes, because I know somebody I communicate with on Twitter and she's a pilot and she's awesome. And that's why I hesitated there with my comments. But I do like girl divers and they can dive on me whenever they want to. Now, this is truly amazing, folks, because as of the 3rd of January 2025, my God, is it already that? At the time of recording this at 10:33 a.m. on Friday, 34,153 players are engaged with Helldivers 2. 24 hours ago, 77,920. All-time peak, 458,709 players. Isn't that insane? So for a game that has suffered some, shall we say, stumbling blocks because Herman Holtz at Sony is an absolute moron, and the same guy that thinks that the Fair Games live service game from Jade Raymond is going to be an absolute hit out of the ballpark. It's not. I wish Sony would stop chasing the live service angle because they can't compete with things like Overwatch and stick to making single player games all over again. But they just won't learn. That's why Intergalactic, that heretic prophet, should I say the insufferable prophet, will be an absolute failure when that game finally gets released. You know why? Because we're not going to pay for it with our wallets. Our mouths instead will do all the speaking. And here, ladies and gentlemen, this is Johan Pilestadt celebrating the new year with Swedish champagne called Ruinart. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It looks good. I like the bottle color and the shape and the size. And Mr. Johan right here looking like a Swedish 007. Shaken but definitely not stirred. Or that could be the other way around as far as I'm concerned. And he's an absolute dude. He's actually got 4 views already, but it's better than no views at all in my opinion. Now, I will just go back to this screen here, folks, and stare at my lovely right here because it's a business Friday for her and she likes to dress down as much as possible. And who am I to have such an objection? But when it comes to gaming characters that are of different colors in a game, does that make the video game woke? Nope. I'm actually getting Space Marine 2 delivered to me today. It was on a ridiculous sale price on Amazon for £37, a £20 plus reduction. So I thought I'd absolutely take that and run with it. So looking forward to supporting that game and playing it on my Xbox as well. I'm getting on Steam at some point, so have the best of both worlds. But the point of me mentioning that game, you got a character called Chiron. Now, I'm not sure if black folks exist in the very Caucasian world of Warhammer, and if they do, and if it's written in the codex, that's absolutely fine. It's better than forcing femme custodies on us, isn't it? But that's another story for another time, folks. And he's a very serious version of the Cold Train from Gears of War, one of the most beloved characters in that franchise. Nobody ever complains about him because some people can consider him the MVP of that game.
Your ass is gonna be quiet till your skink ass queen. Oh, mommy, you let the bad man hurt us. Fuck you. We gonna whoop your mama's ass. Whoa!
There we go. One muscled queen. Not you, her. You were great. I loved your speech there, especially with the bitch ass stuff. Very good. Very enlightening.
I would actually say he's my second favorite character. My best is, of course, Baird. I think he's absolutely hilarious. He's the smart ass. He's the brains. He wasn't afraid to stand up to Marcus Phoenix in the very first game. Like, the man is an absolute bro.
Copy that.
Well, we sure as shit can't stay here.
You're Baird.
Yeah, that's right, asshole. Question is, who are you?
And he's the Tony Stark of the Gears universe. So when you take that into perspective, he's an absolutely great character. Damon Baird should live on forever and ever. He's absolutely a badass all the way through. And then when you got characters like Sergeant Johnson from the Halo franchise, everybody loves that dude. I was just upset with Marty O'Donnell, the composer, the maestro, the magician, the music genius for those original Halo games up until Reach. And it was his decision to have Sergeant Johnson, spoiler alert, to be killed off in Halo 3. I know, I was so pissed off. He said somebody had to go, but of course, he could have just gotten rid of Miranda Keys, and that would have been the end of it. But no, got to get rid of Sergeant Johnson as well. So I guess it was to give the audience a bit of a push.
There's no sense of heroic action if there's no real consequences.
We have to kill Sergeant Johnson.
Say what?
Unacceptable. Wait, what? You're killing Sergeant Johnson?
So there you go. Johan Pilestadt from Sweden, the CCO of the Arrowhead Verse Game Studios, now being run by a gentleman called Shams Sorjani, so I hope he does a good job. But where do you think the future is going to lie with this game studio? What's the next high concept title they're bringing out? I hope actually Johan brings out a single player experience. That would be good, but I don't know at this stage. But leave your thoughts and your comments below, and I will reply to them as much as I can. And on that one, folks, if you were me and if I were you, you should perhaps return for the next video.